Called my son. I think it was yesterday, it may have been Sunday afternoon, and just checked with him, make sure he was okay. He said, "Yeah, it's fine here, Dad." He said, "Rainy all the time." And but the people over there at South Carolina having a little bit difficult time. So I we certainly understand the whims of weather, and I'm certain that they'll do great. And our thoughts and prayers are with them. So the we travel at and play at virtually the same time we played the Syracuse game. So our travel schedule will be, in our week's practice schedule will be kind of mapped out for us. We kind of enjoyed what we did last time. We got them up early, put them to bed early, and it seemed to be the right recipe. And the Eastern Michigan recap, we're still making a couple of those mistakes you wouldn't like to make, but you're making it rushing for 399 yards, and if we don't drop balls, we probably score two more touchdowns, and maybe another 150 yards of offense. So we're certainly in the ballpark. I'm surprised to get a second player without a helmet playing, but it's a real interesting thing. I'm going to insist that our equipment man fit our team yet again, okay? Because to me, I think it has to be that that the helmets are loosely fitted, and we have to tighten them up. It's pretty simple that way. If you looked at that penalty, the defender had put his hand right in the face mask of our offensive tackle, and of course he continues to block through the whistle, and that's what has to get fixed. Special teams need to be a little bit better, but I think they made some improvement in that game. The need to continue to kick like we did. I think Trent Dominguez got a nice confident piece going. He 3 for 3 for field goals. We brought Cam in to kick after a short kick, and he gave us a 5-yard penalty. It just seems like he takes some time. He's that guy who stands over a putt for about 3 minutes before he kicks it, and or he putts it, I should say. And I said, Cam, you understand something? You see that box over there with a 25-second clock? That's for you. You get to look at that every time you get to kick off, and he'll eventually get it, I suspect. So. We had several defensive offsides, and we'll get that fixed. I'm sure. Offensively, Leonard Fournette, his third straight 200-yard game, first time in SEC history that a back has gone for 200 yards 3 consecutive games. It's kind of nice to be a part of that. The offensive line, the fullbacks, the wide receivers, and blocking, all of which really lead to that, and that's why Leonard's having the success, and he'd be the first one to tell you that. He leads the nation in rushing of 864 yards, 216 yards per game, and in points, and so he's scoring at 16 points per game. Brandon Harris is really doing what we ask him to do. He's the one thing I'd like to have him have the presence in the pocket to hang on to that ball if he's getting pressure, and we're going to have to talk about that and see if we can get that fixed. But he's hitting the balls that he's throwing. He's really on target. We just need to catch it, and I think that'll happen. I think our our wide receivers really are poised to have a good year, and this was uncharacteristic of them dropping those balls. So defense had another scoreless first quarter. Really gives us a great chance of stealing the early momentum in a game, and certainly that'll be key as we go to South Carolina in a key SEC matchup. Several of the big plays, Deion's interception was a very, very strong play, and certainly a very fast movement to the goal line, and just made a big play. We're getting contribution, though, from really a number of folks in that defense. Sione Tahuma had 7 tackles, 1 tackle for loss. Lewis Neal, 2 sacks, and Kevin Tolliver and Jamal Adams, both of which played extremely well in the secondary and got takeaways. So kind of in a position where we'd like to be a little bit more hitting on all cylinders, but in reality, we're really close, and we're going to South Carolina to see if we can play best. And we recognize that Coach Spurrier does a great job coaching, and he'll have that team ready to play. They're a very talented team. They have good players, and it's a we'll have to be playing at our best to win. He's again a very, very quality coach and prepares his team. The coming off a loss to Missouri, I think their quarterback is going to be Lorenzo Nunez, and it's a very talented guy. He's really a true freshman. Started the last 2 games at quarterback, threw for 172 yards and 60 yards, rush for 60 yards against Missouri. Got hurt last week, but again is expected to start. And he seems talented and very capable. They also have a very capable receiver, and Farrell Cooper. 26 catches, 322 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Again, defensively, they're a stingy group. They have talented guys. They were allowing 25 points and 388 yards per game, 170 yards rushing, and 218 yards passing. Their linebacker, Sky Moore, 52 tackles and 3 interceptions, very talented backer. And we recognize that South Carolina has talent and is very capable, and we're playing at their place, and it will be it'll be just like other SEC games and contests we've played in. You have to play your best. So, and we'll look forward to that. Questions?
Hey, Coach, up front, is what we saw from the passing game Saturday similar to what you see in practice, and does that kind of inform how you call plays and how you form a game plan?
Well, we have a general menu that we pick from when we go to game plans, and some plays go in, some plays go out. Sometimes you mix and you tinker to get the best combinations on the front side and the back side of the route, but I think that's what most people do. I think it's smart. I think you'd have enjoyed our passing attack if we pulled in some of those balls and scored 2 more touchdowns. As that would happen in what would be normal play. So.
Hey, Coach, after taking a look at the film, how do you evaluate the wide receivers, their pass running, the effort they gave? How did they do in the game?
Yeah, I think our wide receivers expect more of themselves. There's I think several guys played really hard and played really fast, and I think there were times when energy to the ball didn't match, their abilities, capabilities. It'd be easy to say not good enough, but I think they give really quality effort, and I think sometimes, there's other reasons why they didn't, have success, and we'll press those a little bit, in this game week.
That first game against Mississippi State, Traven had a couple of touchdowns called back. Is he kind of had a little bad luck and hard time getting off to a good start this year for you?
Well, to me, he's had plenty of opportunities. It's just that we need to capitalize on those opportunities and allow him to do the things that he can do.
Les, Lamar Lewis got hurt in the game. He missed the second half. Would kind of give us an update on his injury status there?
Yeah, we think Lamar will be fine for the game day. We're not. It's not as serious as him missing the half might seem, but we think he'll return to play very quickly.
What about Dylan Gordon? Could you give us kind of an update on where he is?
Yeah, Dylan Gordon may well, he's working out today, and he's a guy who wants to get back to the field very, very badly, and you just never can tell.
And is Jalen Mills still a week away or two? Where would you put it?
Yeah, I'm still day to day with him. I'm gonna kind of he and Dylan. I'm gonna kind of see where they're at today, and see if we could. Mark a day on the calendar for these guys. And they don't obviously have to be the same day.
So I get the helmet rule, safety and all that, but what's a kid supposed to do? And what do you coach him to do? I mean, like drop to the ground in the fetal position, cover their head, run away to the farthest empty place?
It's a smart rule. It's a really good rule if you think about it. There's a Lewis Neal, for instance, should that ball been fumbled into the boundary and suddenly that a cluster of players, some trying to tackle and some trying to run it in for a touchdown, and Lewis Neal is right there, he had best turn and run, get out of the way, because his injury could be very serious. Obviously, Hawk had this guy and was blocking him, and the guy, out of frustration, I guess, just kind of removed his helmet and, basically, and did not get called, which certainly, there's things that people miss, snap after snap. But, at that point in time, Hawk, we're good. Your play for this particular time frame has ended. You must retreat, and I know it's a smart rule. It really is. I mean, there's a lot of really brave, courageous guys that would go rough and tumble in there and then get hurt, and that's what you don't want to have happen.
Coach, you only attempted 2 passes in the second half. Is there sometimes a temptation, because Leonard and the running game has been so good, just to kind of look at the passing game and say, forget it, this will work?
No, there's no temptation to look at the passing game and say that. We want very much for that passing game to work. The thing that happens is you get to the back end of a game, you put in your seconds on offense and defense, and really you don't want to, the decision of whether you've won or not has been decided. You have sealed victory, and so I think we ran out the last, certainly most of the fourth quarter, and so I think that you'll find in those games that are very competitive, throughout the game, that will be, in those situations much more balanced than we were the second half.
Coach, when you look at the league and the SEC in your experience, why do you think it is that the Western Division has been better for the last several years? I mean, you guys recruit the same territory. You've had coaching stability at Georgia and South Carolina and Missouri. So what do you attribute this success of the West over the East to?
I don't know. I certainly recognize that like for instance, South Carolina is a very talented team. I thought Georgia athletically is as talented as there is. I think Florida is, showing, they have a great year going. It'd be hard pressed for me to tell you that they don't have a very, very capable team. I don't know. I can tell you that it is competition breeds a keen want to play, and I think in the Western Division certainly competition is the rule. I can't imagine it's any different in the East, so it just turns out that way, I guess.
Les, you touched on the whims of weather. Could you discuss what kind of a factor that is when you're preparing a game week and maybe your head somewhere else with something that you can't control at all, like Carolina's dealing with this week?
Yeah, well, we like to see ourselves as a weatherproof offense, and our defense would certainly like to take advantage of weather. I think Brandon has that kind of arm and size of hand that he'll be able to control the ball and do the things that we want to do there. We preach, a variety of things. Certainly, ball security is one, and the weather is always an obstacle or a distraction in some way, shape, whether it's too hot or it's too sunny or it's too whatever it is, and we try to eliminate those very quickly and get to playing.
Listen, straight in the back. Obviously, South Carolina is going through a lot of difficulties, state of emergency, and things like that. You've been on that side as well, trying to prepare your team in light of surrounding circumstances. What did you try to do? What would you expect Coach Spurrier's trying to do to take care of his team in light of the circumstances there?
Well, I think first and foremost, his responsibility is that team, and I'm far be it from me to be the one that tells him that. He knows that. As many great teams as he's put on the field in years at Florida and South Carolina, that he understands, that. I suspect that they'll, minimize distractions in the perimeter, that they'll, seek the right practice plan, and I think, I think that this will be something that they'll come through, because in my mind, because they're, preparing for a game and preparing in a season, and I think that makes, those times. The necessity to step through them and to benefit you and your team that way. So I think they'll be fine.
And just following up on Spurrier, you came here to LSU the same year that he arrived at South Carolina. To last this long with one team, is it just a game of survival? How does that work?
I last as long, and I heard this game at the same time, but explain. I didn't hear you held the microphone just far enough away that I was fighting.
You guys have both lasted the same amount of time at your current institution. How does that work? Is it just a game of survival to get to this point, to last that long at one place?
Yeah, well, first of all, you have to enjoy where you're at. I certainly enjoy this place. I suspect he feels exactly the same about South Carolina. You have to enjoy coaching your players. I think the guys that he recruits and the guys that I recruit, I would have to say that I enjoy coaching. The LSU Tigers. I'm sure that he feels the same way, and I think there's certainly a facet of, good players come here, and certainly good players go to South Carolina. So I think we've been fortunate to have talented players as well.
Hey, Coach, up front, obviously with big receivers like Doral and Dupree, I understand the desire to get it downfield with big guys like that. But do you and Cam concern yourself at all that the intermediate passing game seems to kind of be, I guess, dissolving?
I think there's a need to throw where they're not, and I think that there's many times that we're throwing routes that have the ability to hit several different areas, and I think there's choices on where we throw the ball. And yeah, we consider in making sure that we are a team that throws not only the width of the field but the depth of the field as well. And so you'll find that that's a part of our planning. And if you go and kind of look through the routes and watch them, you'll see that sometimes there's a crosser and sometimes there's a square in and a deep post. And so there's really three routes that are in major consideration almost in every route we call.
Les, you played a lot of backup defensive guys that we hadn't seen a lot, like Duke Riley and Donnie Alexander. What did you see out of those guys specifically?
I think some of those guys played very well. I think some of those guys needed to, be on the field a little bit longer and maybe in practice and get some of those practice snaps. But I think our second team's coming, and that's the good news. The more that you can put a quality sub in for a guy that's playing a lot of snaps in a key contest, the more rested you're going to be.
Do you feel there's a big separation between Kendall and Dion and then your backups? So you feel like they've kind of moved, the gap is wider than you wanted there?
I think what we have there, I think Duke is a guy that can play at really any of those three spots and play extremely well. I think Donnie Alexander is going to be one of the more talented linebackers we have. But again, there's no substitute for experience, and he's just got to get reps on the field.
Les, you talked about the effort not matching the talent, maybe at some of the wide receiver spots. Is it time to maybe look at Shark or some guys that might not have seen the field as much yet?
Yeah, we're looking at shuffling the lineup. We're looking at all those things. I'm not ready to do that at this point in any wholesale fashion. I felt like like give you an example. One of the plays, once I saw it on film, I realized was tipped, and there was really no way for the guy to catch it, and it probably moved 3 feet in the last 10 feet of its travel. So it's it's one of those pieces where you'd like to say, wrap your hands around that. But frankly, it was a very, very difficult catch. I mean, some of those things take place every Saturday, and I don't know that that's something that you see sitting in the stands. I didn't see it, standing on the sidelines. So nor did I talk about it. In fact, nobody saw it, and we didn't until we ran it back and said, So there's, I guess what I'm saying is I like the effort of my wide receivers. It's not as productive as it needs to be. It needs to be more in line with the coaching, and they're taking it. It has to come to fruit. We have to execute better. Period.
Kind of piggybacking on Matt's earlier question, just when you have a guy that's hitting home runs in your lineup like Leonard, do you have to guard against going away from some of the other areas of your program that need the work? And do you have to guard against the guys relying on him to come in and hit that home run?
Well, there's if you got a home run hitter, you bat him third or fourth. Kind of depends on your lineup, right? And that's because if you bat them third, they get generally 5 at bats. If you bat them fourth, there's a chance that it's going to be 4 at bats or less. So basically, what's always been the rule is you give your home run hitter opportunities to hit home runs. And we also think we have other home run hitters. And certainly the offensive line, the fullbacks, the tight ends have all participated in the success we've had in the running game. We also think that Travian Durrell and Malachi Dupree and really Trey Quinn and a number of guys in the receiving corps that can step forward and make plays. So we want to adjust the lineup some, but we want to make sure that those guys that hit home runs get enough touches.
Les, if people were going to rate coaches in the SEC, you and Spurrier would probably be near the top in terms of the more colorful people in the conference as far as football coaches go. You haven't gotten to know Steve over the years, as you probably have, being in the conference the same amount of time. Do you think you guys are more comfortable being yourselves than compared to some other football coaches? Do you think some coaches just maybe take themselves too seriously?
I don't know. I guess I've seen guys that I've thought were, maybe a little bit more serious or a little bit more distracted. But you know what? I think they've been all very successful, and I think it takes there's a wide range of people that can have success at this job, in my opinion. And but I enjoy listening to Coach Spurrier talk. It's certainly entertaining and enlightening at times. So yeah, I guess that it was a compliment to me to be compared with. Yeah, I refuse to answer that question on the grounds that I might give the opponent any bulletin board material.
Coach, with the way Leonard's going, it seems kind of silly to ask about backup running backs, but you seem to have more confidence or growing confidence in the two freshmen. If you wouldn't mind, just a quick thought on both Geis and Brissett and what you've seen over these first 4 games of their career.
I think both of which are very eager to play. I think they're guys that have talent and skill. I think Nick, I don't know, Nick's missed a cut since I've seen him, and Darius Geis is a fast, very physical, very elusive back, and I think both guys are going to have great futures. It's Nick had a missed assignment in the game and cracked a linebacker and knocked him really had a great block. And Frank said to him, "Now, damn it, Nick." He says, "Yeah, I know." He said, "I just wanted to hit somebody, and that's a really good characteristic. If you have to make a mistake, you make it aggressively, and that was, I guess what I'm saying is both guys will have very, very capable, very long careers here.
What's the update on Tashawn Bauer? Will he be able to play this weekend? And then also, how important is to get that kind of production out of Sione as well?
Well, I like Sione. I think Sione is a guy that can play and play a lot, and we would expect Tashawn to be back. It's a kind of minor nick, if you will.
Could he have played Saturday?
Yeah, he could have played Saturday.
Coach, you got time for one more, Chris?
Straight in the back. Through 4 games, would it be fair to say that you guys have been able to control the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball? And how do you feel like both lines are playing, if you can go one at a time?
Yeah, I think both lines are playing really well. The interior defensive line, Lagature and you know what I mean. Gottschall, my boy Devin Gottschall. Both those guys are dominant players and making plays, and I enjoy them eminently. The defensive ends. Lewis Neal continues to improve. Our young Tashawn Bauer and what would be, Frank Heron playing inside and, just I think the group is coming. I think they enjoy Ed, and I think Ed's enthusiasm is giving them, reasons to go to the field. Offensive line-wise, the recipe of those two big veteran tackles and a veteran center in between two young guards. The guards are growing quickly. They're big, capable, physical guys, and they're guys that are, really growing up around very, very, experienced guys. So both sides of the line of scrimmage, in my opinion, defensive line, offensive line, playing well. Thanks, guys.